I want to show you guys how to integrate a Superjara, which is basically an API if you want to start doing VTU business, if you want to be able to resell something like airtime, data, utility bills, and cable subscription. You can actually use Superjara to do that. And it's actually really cheap, just almost as cheap as that of the Glad Tidings. Okay, so I want to show you guys how to do that. And I want to do that because quite a good number of people have actually contacted me to do something about this. They say there is no tutorial for this on YouTube at the moment, so I thought it would be a good option if I try to do that. So if you want to register, you can go to https:/superjara.com/v/register, and this is my phone number right there. So with / my phone number, it means that I'm going to be the one to refer you. So I'm going to put this link in the description box if you want to use it, or even in the screen, so you can type it out to register. And currently I do have this in my balance, 713 naira right there, 50 kobo, and that's just basically what I have. And these are the transactions I've actually already done. What I want to do right now is I want to show you guys how to integrate this without wasting more time. What I want to do right now is, I think I've already opened I do have a folder already right here, which is actually called a Superjara, and I think it's basically empty. So let me open that up. So it's empty. I want to create a new file inside of it. And to do that, let's maximize these, and this is going to be, let's call this index.php. Open that up, and I want to create my, what I'm going to do right now is I don't even need to put something like HTML or boilerplate in there. I just want to use pure PHP to do this. So let's do that right now. PHP, and we can include the PHP tag in here, and that's just the thing that we need right there. And now before I go ahead and write any line of code right here, I want to take a look at the documentation from that of the from that of the Superjara right here. So if you go to the left hand side of the screen right here and we'll scroll down, you should be able to see where they have something like settings page. I want to hit on settings page and open that up, and if that is actually opened, I want to go to the link where it says developer tools. I want to hit on that, and that is just basically going to open up this developer tools for you guys, and you can take a look at that. And taking a look at that right here, the overview, this is the, sorry about this, I want to close that. This is basically the base URL for that of the Superjara right here if you want to integrate it. So we're going to need that. Then take your time to read through this documentation right here so that you can actually understand all. But what I need to just do right there is basically we're going to need this. This is going to be for the header. And what this simply means is that we're going to set the header as an array. And then it's basically going to need a bearer before we can actually enter the authentication key right here, or the API key. So we're going to enter our API key right here, and then we'll have to have something like bearer in front of it before we do that. In fact, I want to copy this. Let me copy this right now. And then if I go back to my development environment, let me just put it down here. And before this place, I want to set a variable. Of course, we're going to use something like core, guys. So I'm going to use CURL. And this is going to be init underscore CURL. Oh, sorry about that. Just basically going to be CURL underscore init. So this is going to be init, and that's just basically the function we need in there. All right, and then after that we can go ahead and work on the bearer token right here, which basically what I want to do right now is to go ahead and get my API key. So to get your API key, if you are within this environment right here, you can click on where it says something like manage API key from this tab, and then you can go ahead and copy your API key right here. So I have to copy my own, and please guys, you have to just use your own, don't use mine. So I want to paste that right here. So this becomes the API key that we basically want to use, right? So we do have a bearer token in front of it right there. All right, so that's just, I think we need to have something like authentication down here. I don't think this is actually correct this way. Let me use authorization right here. I'm going to just do authorization : and then we can take away this particular colon right here. All right, so this is just basically how it should be. So we do have authorization right here, and then we'll have bearer and followed by the API key right here. So after that, we're going to need the content type, and we're basically going to go ahead and set that to application JSON. So if we can go ahead and set this to, I want to use double quotation signs right here, and that's just basically what it is. So let's take away one more quote, and that is it, guys. So, and that's just basically the last line on that particular line. So I wouldn't need to like put something like a comma in there. So we do have our header ready. So the next thing we want to do right now is to go ahead and then perform the integration. So let's say integrate the VTU, the Superjara API. And to do that, we want to use core, right? So let's go ahead and do that right now. Now, first of all, to perform the integration, I want to go ahead and turn off every mandatory SSL checker within this page. And to do that, we're going to just basically use this line right here, and we're going to call this particular variable up here where we initiated our call, and we're going to turn that to true, to false. If we are actually on a live server, we can just turn that to true like this. All right, but now that we're actually offline, we're going to turn that to false, and that is just that. So after that, the next of the configurations I want to do right now is going to really be very simple. So let me do that right now. All right, so here is the basic configuration that we want to do right now. I want to go ahead and paste that within this place, and then we're going to basically go through it. All right, so I just copied and pasted this particular core configuration right here. I'm just setting up some certain things as array right here. And first of all, we're going to need the URL to the API into this particular place. So some people normally call this something like endpoint. Okay, so we're going to just enter the endpoint right here. So this is where we're going to enter our endpoint, and we're going to basically set the return transfer to true. Custom encoding, we set that to empty strings, and we set this right here, maximum redirect. We're going to just need like 10 times, and then we'll set the timeout to 0, and then the allocation set to that of the true, and then right here the version of the HTTP will set that to 1.1, and after that we're going to have right here we're going to just make sure that it's actually a post request that we want to perform right here. So that's just the basic configuration. You need to get that down right here, and if we do that, the first thing I want us to do right now is to just go get the endpoint right here from that of the Superjara. And to get the endpoint, if we go to the overview right here, I think it's even actually available right here. Look at the base URL. So I want to take the base URL right here, and then if we go to the development environment, I want to paste that right here. All right, but then there is still another thing that we're going to actually need right here, which I couldn't actually find that within the latest documentation of that of the VT path, but we're going to just have like a version right here, and then going by the endpoint, the specific endpoint itself for that of the for us to be able to get data from that of the API, from that of the Superjara API, which I'm going to actually share with you right now. But I could not actually find that from that documentation. For instance, even if we go to the overview and we'll go through this, I could not actually find the link to that. And here is the products right here. We couldn't also find that from here. Even if we go to something like let's say data top up, if you think we are going to actually get that from here, you wouldn't actually get that. All right, so we wouldn't actually get that from here. But I think that where it gave me the clue is if we go to the endpoints right here, you see that if we take a look at the endpoints in here, we could not actually still be able to find that. All right, and we're working on data right now, right? So if we go to somewhere like buy data top up or data share right here, and what they basically have in here is just the payload. We're going to have the payload to look like this, and this is the response code, and this is if you have an error, we're going to have this particular one. This is the failed response, and this is the success response right here. All right, and if you take a look at that, there is no place where they display the correct API endpoint right here. But from their previous documentation, which I've actually read and then documented, I think we're going to need to add something to this particular endpoint right here. All right, but you guys can actually try this particular endpoint. If it works for you, that's fine. But what I did was to add some extra thing right here. So I think it was actually version 2 / something like data share. So like that. All right, so that's just basically the endpoint that you are going to use if you want to like be able to get their data. Okay, the data that Superjara is actually supplying. So you need to enter version 2 and then say something like data share to be able to get that. And that is just that. So the next thing we need to add right here is going to be very simple, and that's just basically going to be, since this is going to actually be some post, and if you take a look at the documentation right here, and I want to scroll down a little bit, you're going to see that we need a payload right here. Those are the things that we need. Like to be able to send data, you need something like a product key. We're going to need a phone number field. We need action, and then we're going to use something like a user interface. So we need to make a provision where we should be able to collect this particular information. And to do that is really very simple. So let's do that right now. All right, so to do that, we are going to need this field. So this setup right here. So I'm going to just say post field in here, and I'm going to put that as JSON encoded format, and I have this square bracket right here just to show that it's actually going to be an array. You can alternatively maybe just do something like array right here. So if you do array and put these brackets in here, you can also make use of that. Okay, but why not to use square brackets and then move forward? So I'm going to just do forward a square bracket in here, and everything that I'm actually going to put is actually going to be between this particular place. So we can actually separate this with a comma because we're going to actually need another thing in there. So within this particular place, that's just basically where we're going to need to put all of these things that we have in here. Okay, so this is just the JSON object right here. So how I want to do it is this. I'm going to just copy this right here, and then if I go back to development environment, I want to stick that right here. And since I'm going to just basically treat these things as arrays, so I'm going to change this to arrow, change that to arrow, and also change this one to arrow, and then the last one right here is also going to be changed to arrow, like that. All right, and then I need to modify a few things in here. What I basically want to work on first of all is going to be that of the MTN, not MTN but Airtel, because I have Airtel line on my phone right here. And to do it, I just basically want to replace this with my Airtel line so that I can actually get the data when I send them. All right, so I have my phone number in there. Look at my phone number, and we need to change this product code right here. And then to do that, if we go to, let's go back to the documentation, and I want to go to product code right here, and we can take a look at what we already got right here. So everything we got right here are just basically about glow, and I think I do not actually need glow at this moment, so I want to go back and I want to work on Airtel right here. So I'm going to just do let's go back one more time, and I want to go to the SME data share. Let's try this one, and this is going to be Airtel corporate data, and let's make use of this particular one, which is actually 100 megabytes. So I want to copy the product code right here. So we need this product code. If we go back to the development environment, I want to put that right here. So this is going to be the product code that we need. I have my phone number right here, and this is action sent to event. And then for the user reference right here, I want to change this a little bit. So this is going to be, I'm going to change this to, I'm going to just do my initial right here, and then say dots, and this is going to be like a unique ID right here. So this is going to be unique ID, and terminate that particular line. We do not actually need to terminate or put something like a comma in there, so you should be able to do it this way. And that is just that, guys. So I think this particular field called the phone number, I'm going to just take away underscore phone, underscore number right here, because it did not actually work when I tested it, even though the documentation says we should be able to use underscore phone number right here. So if we go back to right here, at the endpoints, you're going to notice that the documentation actually specified that we should use something like phone underscore number, but it did not actually work for me. So I'm going to change that to what I just changed that to right now. We just phone, like that. All right, and they basically need to like update their documentation to be able to reflect this particular thing in there, because if you use something like phone number, it's basically going to give an error. In fact, let's try that. So I'm going to just do Control Z and then save the changes, and we're going to basically come back and take this away, but I just basically want to show you the kind of error that it shows, and the error is actually not friendly at all. So we have this right here, and the next thing I want to do is so we do have a header already. If you take a look up here, you're going to see that we have a header where we're able to create our authorization key, which is basically our API key. I want to bring that into our core integration right here. And to do that, I'm going to just copy and paste this line. So right here, what we basically have done is to find a way to be able to include this particular headers right here, because if you double click on that, you see that it's actually present right here. We could, however, copy this and then set that as an array within that place. But since we already have that in place, we can just go ahead and then reference to that particular variable right here, and it should be able to like do that for us, guys. That is it on that particular line. We can, however, let's basically execute this right here, and I want to put the execution in something like a variable. So I'm going to just do response, and we can go ahead and execute that right here. So this is going to be curl underscore exec, and what we basically want to execute is going to be this init variable up here. I think we need this, so I'm going to copy that, and then once we get down here, we want to go ahead and then execute that. So this is going to basically be a variable, right? Let's check to be sure that is actually correct. All right, so that should be actually correct, and after that we can go ahead. If we have any errors, we want to put that in a variable. So let me just go ahead and do that with these two lines right here that I have just added. So if we have any errors, we want to go ahead and put that into error variable. So we're capturing the error using this curl underscore error right here, and then we're grabbing onto that of the curl, which we use to initiate our coil, and we can go ahead and then close if we want. If everything works just fine, we can go ahead and then close. And after that, we can just maybe use if statement to check if we do actually have something present in this particular error variable right here. All right, so if we have any error right there, we want to go ahead and then put that. We'll kill the page and then print the error out for us. That is just what that is going to be. And then if not, we can go ahead and then print out the response down here. So to print the error, let's go ahead and then do that with this particular line, which will make it look a little bit nicer. So just basically prettify that. And that's just basically what we need right here, guys. I think everything is actually okay the way that I'm seeing it. So what I want to do right now is, I think basically let's save the changes, and we don't need a comma in here because this is actually the last line in that setup right there. So if we run this, we're going to get an error just because of this particular line. But let's just go ahead and do that first of all. And I do have my phone mirrored right here. So I want to open this up, guys. And if I open up this phone, let's first of all take a look at the message that is currently here. So I do have a 200 megabyte left in my data. So if you open that up, that's the only message in here right now. And that's just basically fine. But if we run this code and then we ever get the data, I'm going to basically get a message is going to actually pop up right here. All right. So first of all, let's open up that. I want to do localhost. And what I want to do is to just basically visit a Superjara right here. So this is going to be Superjara, which is the folder name to this application we are building. I've actually shown you that before now. Okay. So we do have an error right here. If you take a look at the JSON object being printed to us, it says server name. A server message says phone number required. And status is set to false, error code is right here, and this is what we get, the data JSON right here, the object from the data. So we have this text status is failed, and the response is actually phone number required. We do have a phone number field provided right here, but you see that it's actually telling us that we do not even have a phone number field. So that's what I was actually talking about. So we need to take this away and just make use of phone alone. And what we want to do right now is I want to open up this interface, and let's open the phone up back up. We do not actually have any messages so far, but then I want to run this page again. So by now I believe we should be able to get the response. We have success right here. So let's open this up, and you see that we do have a message that just came in right now, right? So if we open that place up, you see that we do have you have 100 megabyte left. So it's a kind of updated what we already got. So it was actually 200 megabyte before now, but I just guess we just got another airtime just now, and that's just basically this particular one that is down here. You have received 100 megabytes of data from GGR validity, whatever date you can actually see right there. Okay, so this is just it right here. So it works just fine. That's why we're able to get this, right? So that's just basically what that is, guys. And I want to, if we go back in here, you see that we have server message now says transaction was successful. Sum of 28 naira was deducted from your wallet. Kindly check your balance. And if you take a look in here very well, see that the status now is not true. And we do have our data right here. So everything we need is actually available to us right here. And we do have something like a text status set to completed that we can actually use to a kind of a check for maybe we want to give value to our customer or something of that nature. All right, so you can use this to verify if the payment was actually or the transaction completed successfully or not. All right, so we also still have that text status down here. All right, and then we'll have something like recharge ID down here that you can use maybe if they have a backend or the endpoint that you can use to actually test whether a transaction was actually successful or not. You can use this ID to actually test for that. So this is just basically how you can integrate your Superjara if you want to make use of them. They are pretty cheap. So recharge after is right here. So if we check here, we'll go back to our balance, and to go back in there we need to just click back, and you see that data kind of reduced, right? It reduced from what we had here earlier. All right, so as simple as that, guys, as simple as that. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to just go ahead and then put this particular link. You can go to that link and then register if you want to make use of them, and or I'll go ahead and then put that in the description box. So if you want to use that, that's just completely fine. And that is it, guys. So I hope you like the video, and I couldn't actually build it like an actual application, maybe where you can just put a phone number, then click a submit button and then send that. So I know that you guys can actually do that. Just want to show you the bare bones of really integrating this into your web application. So I believe you like that, guys. So give that a like if you like that, and then if you want to subscribe, that's completely up to you. You can go ahead and do that if you want to, and if not, I think I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now.